Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to do some Pilates for lower back pain. So we're just going to try and gently fire up our core muscles. When we have back pain, our core muscles tend to stop working very effectively or when we need them to. So we're going to try and fire up through our core muscles and gently get our back moving, but not loading too much, not overloading, so we shouldn't get any increase in back pain, but you should maybe feel a bit of stretching and movement through there, which is good for people for when you've got lower back pain. So it's finding that balance between that good pain sensation and that not good pain sensation. And when you feel like it's good, that's fine to gently work with it. When it doesn't feel good, stop, reset, have a break, have a stretch if you need to, and then come back in and join as you feel able to. So we're going to start off just with a little bit of posture work. So feet together, up nice and tall through the spine. I'm just going to go toes out, heels out, and just make sure you've got equal weight through forefoot and hindfoot. So just gently rocking one way and the other, and coming to that midpoint where you've got equal weight through both feet and equal weight through forefoot and hindfoot. If you need to just gently take sway left to right and come to that midpoint, then you can do. Often, again, when we've got back pain, we tend to want to shift to one side. So come in nice and equal. Now lengthen through the legs, keep the knees nice and soft. And then you're just going to gently think about the pelvis and getting that pelvis moving. So we're going to imagine the pelvis is like a big bowl. We're going to put a marble at the bottom of that bowl, and we're just gently going to roll that marble forwards and backwards. Now if your back's a bit sore, you might not want to go too far one way or the other, but just gently trying to get it moving, because actually when you've got back pain, gentle movement is really good for it. Get some muscles allowing themselves to let go and get moving. So it's just trying to open up through the muscles, try and fire up some of those muscles that have gone, that's painful, I don't want to work, and get the muscles that we need working fired up. So come to that nice neutral position where you've got that marble at the bottom of the bowl, lengthening through the back, gently pulling up through the front. And then we're going to lengthen up through the spine. So imagine that nice stable pelvis, and then lengthening up through the spine, between the shoulder blades, through the back of the neck, crown of the head. Just do a couple of loops for the shoulders, and then back in the other direction. Good. And then lift the shoulders up, glide the shoulder blades back together, and then relax those shoulders away from your ears. You've got a nice gap in between ear and shoulder. And we're just going to come into toy soldier to begin with. So we're going to engage through our core muscles. So these are the ones that might be switched off a little bit if we've got lower back pain. So breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to pull up through the pelvic floor. So you're going to stop yourself from passing wind, and gently pulling that belly button in towards the spine. We're going to float our hands just up to shoulder height, and then from there, breath in. So you breathe out, we're going to lift one arm up, the other comes down, and as you lift one arm, the opposite heel lifts off the floor. So we're keeping everything through the back nice and still, just gently getting the arms and hips moving, and trying to keep that core gently switched on, and your back nice and long. Really think about lengthening through the crown of the head. And keep breathing out, in as you come back to the centre. Good. Out, in as you come back. Good. Let's just do a couple more on either side. Good. Well done. And relax down. Good. Okay, so from there we're just going to come into a gentle side bend stretch. So if you want to hold on to something for a bit of balance, you can do. If you want to keep your feet a bit wider and just work gently with your feet wide, you can come into this position. If you're happy to, we can cross it. If we're going to stretch through the left side, we'll cross our right foot in front of our left. And then from there, you're going to reach your right fingertips down towards the floor and bring your left arm up and over. Just try and open up through that left side of the body. So if your feet aren't crossed, then you might just be coming down into this position. You just feel a bit of a stretch through here. Make sure you're not arching through that lower back. So as you come down, just working with what you're comfortable going with. So don't push through anything that's too uncomfortable or feels horrible. So if it means that you just come to here and just do a little bit of a push of that hip out to the side, that's absolutely fine. Good, and gently coming back up and over. And I'm going to come to the other side, so you can either keep your feet wide or you can cross your left leg in front of your right. Right hip comes out to side, left fingertips down towards the floor, reaching that right arm up and over and opening up through the right side of the body. Again, it might be different side to side and you just need to work with what you feel comfortable doing. Listen to your body. And try and just get a feeling of what's a good kind of stretching sensation and what's pain, and work within your comfort with that stretching sensation. Good, from here we're just going to come into an arm opening. So feet hip width apart, we're going to try and just keep everything from our pelvis down nice and still. So soft knees, pelvis nice and neutral, lengthen through the spine, shoulders down and back. We're going to bring our arms out in front. And from here, keeping that pelvis pointing forward, it's going to open one arm out behind you. Just going as far as you can go, keeping everything from the pelvis down nice and still. And then coming through to the front and then coming back through the other way. Keep that pelvis nice and neutral, twisting through the spine, but keeping pelvis and legs nice and still. Breathing in as you open up and out as you come back. Good. Keep that pelvis as still as you can, just opening through the spine. Breath in as you open up. Okay, and then we're just going to do one where we open up but we allow the pelvis to twist as well. So open up but twist the pelvis, feet stay still. Coming through to the front, and then one on the other side, twist the pelvis just as far as you feel comfortable going, then coming back through to the front. Good, and relax down. Good, well done. Just have a little arch and hollow through the pelvis. So you're going to imagine your pelvis is like a bowl, marble at the bottom of that bowl, and then we're going to roll the bowl forward, sticking out that tailbone and sticking out that belly button, and then roll the marble backwards. Imagine you've got a tail, tuck it between your legs, pull that belly button in towards your spine. So rolling forward, belly button forward, tailbone out behind you, then rolling backwards, tuck that tailbone down between your legs, pull that belly button in towards your spine. And you'll feel it opening up and stretching and moving through that lower spine. And then we're going to come up nice and tall, and we're just going to work into a little modified roll down. And I want you to, again, just work with what you're comfortable doing. So if you feel like you're not moving much, I don't mind. Go with what you feel is comfortable. A little bit of movement is better than nothing at all. So coming up nice and tall, going to engage through those core muscles. So pulling up through the pelvic floors, they're going to stop yourself from passing wind, belly button in towards your spine. And we're just going to roll chin into neck. So tuck that chin down as though you're holding a pen underneath your chin. And then we're going to roll that chin down towards your chest. Just opening up through the back of the neck. Keep breathing. I'm going to roll, sink that breastbone deep into the rib cage. Rolling down, and your hands are just going to come down as far as your knees. And from there, we're going to bend the knees, and we're going to lift the tailbone, lower the belly button, lower the breastbone, and look forward. Keep the shoulders down, neck nice and long. And then we're going to tuck down, chin to chest. Lift the breastbone, lift the belly button. Imagine you've got a tail, tuck it between your legs, so you're opening up through the back. You're going to lengthen through the legs and then stack the spine up from the pelvis, one vertebrae at a time. Good. And again, so tuck that chin into your neck. Imagine you're holding a pen underneath your chin. And then rolling down, chin to chest. Sink that breastbone deep into the rib cage. Keep that pelvis up tall for as long as possible. Hands come to knees. We're going to bend the knees. Going to lift that tailbone out. Lower through the belly button. Lower through the breastbone. Look forward, shoulders down, neck nice and long. And then we're going to tuck down, chin to chest, lift the breastbone, lift the belly button. Imagine you've got a tail, tuck it between your legs, and then lengthening through your legs and stacking through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Keep breathing. Keep those core muscles gently switched on. We're going to do 2 more of those. Chin into neck, rolling down, one vertebra at a time. Hands coming down towards knees. We're going to soften those knees. We're going to lift the tailbone, lower the belly button, lower the breastbone, look forwards, neck long, shoulders away from your ears, and then tuck chin to chest, lift breastbone, lift belly button. Imagine you've got a tail, tuck it between your legs, lengthen through, stack the spine up one vertebra at a time. And hopefully each time you do it, you just feel a little bit more comfortable. Let's do 1 more in your own time. Keep breathing. Hands coming down as far as the knees. I'm going to bend the knees. We're going to lift that tailbone up. Lower the belly button, lower the breastbone. Look forward, shoulders down, neck long. And then tuck chin into the chest. Lift the breastbone, lift the belly button. Imagine you've got a tail, tuck it between your legs. Lengthening through the legs, stacking up one vertebra at a time as you come all the way up tall. Good, well done. So then we're going to come down onto the mat, and again, anything we do on the mat, I just want you to really work within your comfort. Work gently. I want you to feel like you're just getting a little bit of movement and firing up muscles, but I don't want you feeling like it's sore, painful through your lower back. So work with what you're comfortable with and just stop and pause if you need to. So we're just going to come into our starting position, feet in line with knees, hips and shoulders. I'm going to lengthen through the back of the neck. We're going to drop those shoulders away from our ears, collarbones nice and wide. I'm just going to get you, if you're comfortable to, just lift your hips up a little bit and lower your spine down onto the mat. And in this position, I want you to imagine you've got a marshmallow directly underneath your belly button and a 2p coin directly underneath your breastbone, between your spine and the mat. And then we're just going to, like we did in standing when we rolled that marble forward and backward in the pelvis, we're going to just squash that marshmallow that's directly underneath your belly button between the spine and mat. And you should feel like your tummy muscles are firing up and your back increases the pressure onto the mat. And then we're going to lift up and away. So you can just slide your fingertips underneath your lower back. So your belly button lifts up towards the ceiling, breastbone lifts up towards the ceiling, and you can just feel that gap in between your back and the mat. And then we're going to squash down again. Imagine that marshmallow between your spine and the mat, directly underneath your belly button. You're going to push down and push down underneath that breastbone onto that 2p coin. And then lift up again. Just so you've got a little gap in between your mat and the waist. And then we're going to come down at least halfway onto that marshmallow. But I would say if you know that you arch through that lower back, or your back muscles are feeling like they're in spasm and they're tight, then push down a little bit further. So you really fire up through those tummy muscles and try and use those tummy muscles to control you. And we're not going to load through the back today too much. We're literally just going to try and fire up through those tummy muscles. So from here, we're going to make sure that we're down onto that marshmallow, breastbone's down so your spine is in contact with that 2p coin. And then from here, we're going to come into hip twist. So we're going to switch on through the core muscles to begin with. So breath in. As you breathe out, pull up through the pelvic floor as though you're going to stop yourself in passing wind. Pull that belly button down towards your spine. And I want you just to gently rest your hands onto your pelvis. So those bony bits at the front of the hips. I want you to rest your hands on there. And you can rest your elbows down by your side. But I want you to try and keep these bony points as still as possible and keep the pressure of your back onto the mat as still as possible. So from here, we're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, keeping those core muscles engaged, we're going to drop one knee just out to the side, keeping the pelvis nice and still. Breathing in as you come back up. Breathe out, take the other leg out to the side, and in as you come back up. So we're going to keep that back nice and neutral on the mat. We're not going to allow the pelvis to rock side to side, and we're alternating One knee coming out to the side, foot stays on the mat. Breathe out, move that knee out to the side. Breathe in, move the knee into the centre. Breathe out, move out to the side. Breathe in, come back to the centre. Keep those core muscles switched on. Make sure you're coming down onto that marshmallow with that lower back. Alternating side to side. And if you want to make it slightly harder, then lift the elbows up off of the floor, and you'll feel like your pelvis will maybe want to wobble a little bit more, but you're going to try and keep that pelvis nice and neutral. Breathe out, move the knee out to the side, breathe in, move it back to the centre. Good. One more on either side. Keep that pelvis as neutral as possible. Keep those core muscles switched on. Good, well done. Okay, relax off. You can switch off through the core muscles. I'm going to get you to bring one knee in towards your chest and just hug that knee towards your chest. Now you can either just do one knee at a time, if that's what feels right for you, or if you're happy to, once one knee's in towards your chest, you can bring the other knee in to join it and hug those knees in towards your chest. If you're just hugging one knee at a time, lower that first knee that you're hugging down onto the mat, and then bring the other knee in to join it, and then hug that second knee in towards your chest. If you're happy with your both knees in towards your chest, you can just do a couple of circles with those knees over your chest, just massaging that lower back onto the mat. More than happy if your back's not happy with both legs lifted, then just do one at a time, hugging into your chest. Good. Okay. And then we're going to lower one foot back down to the mat, and if you've got both feet up, lower the other leg down to join it. So we're going to come into that nice neutral starting position. So long neck, shoulders down, coming nice and neutral onto that marshmallow, that 2p coin. And again, we're going to try and keep the pressure of your back onto the mat exactly the same. So you're not allowing that to change as we move. So we're coming into one leg stretch, but as you move, you're not allowing your back to come up off of that marshmallow. So keep pushing that back down into the mat, onto that marshmallow. So your tummy muscles are working, but your back muscles should stay nice and relaxed. Okay, so from here, breath in. So you breathe out, we're going to engage through the core muscles, pulling up through the pelvic floor, down through the belly button. And breath in. As you breathe out, we're just going to slide one leg away from you. Breathe in, slide that leg back. Then we're going to swap sides. Breathe out, slide the other leg away. Breathe in, slide it back. And as you lengthen that leg, you're going to make sure that that belly button doesn't creep up away from the mat. Breathing out, lengthen through. Breathing in, coming back. So breathe out, move out. Breathe in, move in. I'm going to keep that pressure of your back onto the mat exactly the same. Make sure that marshmallow's got the pressure of your back onto it, so you're using those tummy muscles to keep that pressure down, and you're not rocking from side to side with the pelvis, and you're not changing that pressure of your back onto the mat. Breathe out, move out. Breathe in, move in. Good. If you want to lift your elbows, you can do. Makes it slightly harder to keep that control. It's surprising when your elbows down how much help they give you. Whereas when you lift them up, your body, your core has to work harder. Breathe out, move out. Breathe in, slide that leg back in. Alternate side to side, keep that pelvis nice and neutral. Make sure you're not creeping up off of that marshmallow. Belly button pulled down towards the spine. Good. Last one on either side. And then relax off. Let your core switch off gently. And just want you to bring feet and knees together. We're going to bring our arms out wide. And just gently, as far as you feel comfortable going, we're going to keep the shoulders flat and bring both knees across to one side. And again, I don't mind how far you go. If your knees just come to here and that feels like your limit, feels like it's stretching out but not causing any discomfort, then that's fine. If you can go further, then that's fine too. Work with what your body is allowing you to comfortably do. And you might find that one side is so much easier than the other, and that's normal. When you've got back pain, often it can be one-sided, and one side's just a bit stuck and tight, and we just need to open it up gently. So all these stretches that we're doing in between the exercises as well are really good for you to do through the day. Just gently roll those knees, use those core muscles, so keep those core muscles switched on as you roll back through to the centre. And then we're going to roll to the other side. Keep the shoulders down, and again, only go as far as you feel comfortable going. Just opening up through the waist, through the lower back. Keep breathing. And then gently roll those knees back through to the centre. Use those core muscles. Control through. Good, well done. Okay, and then from there we're just going to try and get our arms moving a little bit, but keeping those core muscles switched on. So neck nice and long, shoulders down, pelvis nice and neutral. We're going to engage through the core muscles, pulling up through the pelvic floor, down through the belly button. And then from there, you're going to float both hands straight up towards the ceiling above your shoulders, so wide enough to kind of fit a beach ball. And then from here, we're going to do 2 big semicircles with your arms. When I say big, you're going as far as you can control, keeping that pressure down onto that marshmallow and that 2p coin. So breath in, and as you breathe out, taking the hands above your head towards the floor, just as far as you feel comfortable going, and then circling them around, drawing big semicircles, and then coming back up to the ceiling. So breathing out as you lower, in as you circle round and come back up to above your shoulders. So keeping the shoulders down, collarbones wide, you're making sure that that breastbone stays down towards the floor. So as your arms come above your head, you're not lifting breastbone and belly button away from the floor. Circle round and come back up. So you can either just stay using your arms only. If that feels kind of like it's just working gently through the tummy muscles, you're keeping that belly button down towards the spine, you're keeping that pressure on that marshmallow, and that feels good for you and comfortable, you can keep it there. If you wanted to add in that last exercise where we just did one leg down, circle the arms around, the leg comes back up again, and then alternating legs, we're doing both arms with each repetition. So one leg, both arms away, circle around, come back onto the floor with the foot, hands towards the ceiling, and then opposite leg lengthens away as the hands come round and back up. Keeping that pressure down through your back onto the mat, making sure you're not lifting up through the through that belly button or through that breastbone, and that the pelvis is staying as still as it can. So try not to rock side to side, breathing out as you lengthen, in as you circle round. What you don't want to happen is that back to creep in and start the back muscles to start working. You're keeping those tummy muscles working by pulling up through the core muscles, gently pulling that belly button down towards the spine, and not lifting the spine up off of the mat. Let's do, if you're doing the leg movement, let's do one more on either side. If you're doing the arms, then we'll just do 2 more circles with the arms. Good, well done. And then relax your arms down by your side. And we're just going to lengthen one leg away, lengthen the other leg away. And if your back's really tight, then just be careful of this. You might just want to keep your arms by your side. If you're happy to, we can lengthen arms above your head and just take a big breath in, reach fingertips and toes away from one another, and that might mean that your belly button and breastbone lift up towards the ceiling and you feel a little bit of a gap in between your back and the mat. And as you breathe out, I want you to relax and feel heavy into the mat, almost feel like you're melting down into the mat as you relax that breath away. So breath in, reach your fingertips and toes away. Breathe out, feel yourself melt heavy down into the mat. And again, big breath in, reach away, breathe out, flatten down into the mat. Good, well done. Okay, just bend one leg up. Bring the other one in towards your bottom, bring your arms back down by your side. We're going to lay onto our side. And then we're going to come up onto all fours. And we're just going to have a bit of a stretch of the back through on all fours. So from, take that nice long back. So you're going to have your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. You're going to lengthen through the spine, drop those shoulders away from your ears and lift that breastbone up away from the mat. And we're going to just do a little cat-cow stretch. So chin to chest, lift the breastbone up, lift the belly button up. Imagine you've got a tail, tuck it between your legs. Big curve, stretch through the lower back, upper back, shoulders. And then we're going to lift that tailbone up, lower the belly button, lower the breastbone. Gently look forward, keep the neck long, shoulders away from your ears. And then again, tucking down, chin to chest, lifting the breastbone, lifting the belly button. Imagine you've got a tail, tuck it between your legs. And then lift that tail, lower the belly button, lower the breastbone, to look forward, shoulders away from your ears. Let's do one more in either direction. Chin to chest, lift the breastbone, lift the belly button, tuck that tailbone under. And then lifting the other way. Lowering the belly button, lowering the breastbone, looking forward, shoulders away from your ears. And then we're going to lengthen through the spine. And I want you to try to just gently sit back onto your heels. Just as far as you're comfortable going, we're going to gently walk the fingertips away. And allow the forehead and breastbone to come down towards the mat. Now if you're more comfortable doing this maybe with knees wide, you can do, and it just gives you a bit more space to come into that, just that extended child's pose. But if you would rather keep those knees together, then go knees together. I don't mind, your choice. Do what feels most comfortable for you. And it might mean that you're just in this position. That's fine, just go with what you feel comfortable doing, but we're just trying to open up through that lower back. Couple of deep breaths in there. And then I'm going to get you to just gently lie down onto your side. There are lots of different ways that you can do this stretch for the front of your hips. So often if our lower back's tight, we're also tight through our hip flexors. But actually, so what we need to do is stretch out the hip flexors, and that will help relax off through our back. There are lots of different ways of doing this stretch. I'll show you this sideline one because I think that's probably the least pressure for the back. But I want you to be really conscious of that lower back position. So I want you to imagine again that you've got that tail and you're going to tuck it between your legs. So you push the hip forward and you pull the belly button in towards your spine. And you can use a towel or hold onto your trouser leg, or if you can, bring your heel towards your bottom in this position, then that's great. But you might just want to hold on with a hook, a towel or a scarf around your ankle and bring your heel towards your bottom. But it's really important that you think about lengthening down through the back, pulling up through the front, and push this hip crease forward, and you should feel a stretch through the front of the hip and front of the thigh. Now other positions to do this in are in a mermaid position, so heel to bottom, but I just want you to be careful of your lower back. If you're already in a bit of an arch and those back muscles are overfiring, then that can be a bit sore. The other way I quite like to do it, but again it's just getting into position depending on how sore you are, is a kneeling lunge. But making sure again that you're really lengthening down the back, pulling up through the front. I like this one to work into. The other way, if your back is really sore and you don't want to kneel onto the floor, is just coming into a bit of a standing lunge and trying to again tuck that tailbone down, open up through the front. So if you're on your side doing that heel to bottom, we're then going to swap sides. So roll onto the other side. Heel to bottom, lengthen down through the tailbone, push the front of the hip forward, lengthen down through the back, feel that stretch to the front of the hip, front of the thigh. So you can come into that kneeling lunge or that mermaid sitting position. But if you know that that lower back's tight, if you've been sat at a desk a long time and your hips have been in that flex kind of 90-degree angle, then this is a really nice stretch to try and loosen off through the lower back. And then it seems a bit kind of, well, my lower back's the other side, but these muscles attach, as I say, into that lower back. So if you can stretch out through the front, then that's a really good position to come and stretch out. Good. And then relax off. And then we're just going to lay onto our back. And I want you to open up the feet. So your feet come to the edge of the mat, and so your knees are quite far apart. And you can bring your arms out to the side. And from here, we're just going to gently roll both knees across to one side. Allow that top hip to come away from the mat. Just open up again through the front of the hip, through the waist and lower back. If that doesn't feel right, then bring your feet together and come back into that knee roll, both knees together. So again, work with what feels right for you, but if you can comfortably come into this stretch and it just feels like a nice stretch, then try and work with it. And again, you might feel, just gently come back through to the centre. You might feel like one side's really easy and the other side's just not letting you move into that position, but just gently work with what you're comfortable with. Good, and then gently bring those knees back through to the centre. So from here we're going to come up into sitting gently. I want you to roll onto your side, pop your hand onto the floor, gently push with your hand up onto the floor. Think about engaging with those core muscles as you do it, and from there you can gently come up into sitting or into standing when we're done. So well done, just a nice gentle workout in case your back's just feeling a bit niggly and just need some gentle movement and firing up of those core muscles. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.